11th of September, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi.
Okay.
Hello,
Parsha. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. Very good. New Parsha. V'haya ki Savo el haaretz.
Starting now. You're
Okay.
starting now.
Mea.
Okay, so we're on Keat. Hold it. What happened here? One sec. Oh, here it is. Okay. It says V'hayaki tavo el eretz asher Hashem Elokecha.
Haaretz.
Oh, haaretz. Asher Hashem Elokecha notein lecha nachala v'rishta v'yashavta ba. Okay.
V'ishtav v'yashavta ba.
Okay.
Okay.
So it will happen when you enter the land, enter to the land, literally, which Hashem gave to you, Nachala, as an inheritance.
In English, you see the word lavo means to come, but when you have el, it means come into or come to. So
Oh, that's
enter, it covers both of them. Come to, when you come, when you enter the land means when you come to the land. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Very good. Okay, so Hashem,
okay, let's finish. Nachal, when you give it to you as an inheritance or as a heritable property, you shall take possession of it, and you will dwell in it.
Okay. So there's one Rashi here. It says V'haya kitavo v'gomer v'rishta v'yashavta ba. Okay, so when you enter the land and you will live in it. Okay, Magid, it says,
Tells us, yeah.
Tells us, Shelo nitchayevu bikurim. Okay, so Shelo, you're not obligated with the bikurim. It's the first fruit.
Mitzvah bikurim, which is we're going to mention over here. It's the whole section about this section. This parsha is talking about. But it's only going to be applicable once virishta v'yashav taba, once you take possession of it and dwelt in it, and you dwell in it.
Oh.
That's what he says. Magid tells you they did not become obliged to the mitzvah bikurim.
Okay, odd. Let's see.
Kavshu es haaretz, till they
conquered it, I guess. Okay. So until they conquered it, so it has to be before they can give the first fruits. The chiliku.
and
and also there's two parts, and they had to divide it up.
why? Because they had to be settled in the land.
Right. Okay, so that's i.e. settled in the land. Okay.
Ah,
So that means the first, I think it took them 7 years to conquer it, or 14, I forget.
40, no, 7 years to conquer and 7
Okay.
years to divide out the land.
Oh, okay. So
Why it
only
took
after,
so long to divide out the land, I'm not sure, but
okay. Okay, that's
okay,
it. Yep.
that's Pasuk Aleph. Okay, now Lou, Pasuk Beis, please.
V'lakachta me reshis kol pri ha'adama asher tavi me artzecha asher Hashem Elokecha nosein loch v'samta vatene vatene v'halachta el hamakom asher yivchar Hashem Elokecha l'shakain shemo sham. So and you will take from the first of all the fruits of the land,
Right.
that you bring from your land, that Hashem your God gives to you.
He's giving to you, right?
It is giving to you. Is giving to you. And you shall put it in a basket,
Right.
and go to the place that Hashem your God will choose to make his name,
Shakain Shemoy Sham.
to make his
rest
name
his
rest
name
there.
there.
So Rashi says, "Me reshis, of the first, velo chol reshis, but not the entire first. She'ein kol haperos chayavin bevikurim, that not all of the fruits are obligated as bikurim, as first fruits. Ella shiv'as haminin bilvad, but the 7 species only.
Now, how do I know that? Carry on. Ne'emar Khan.
V'ne'emar kan eretz, that it says here, the land, eretz, land.
It says Me'al Tzachar, right?
V'ne'emar lehalan, and it says above, eretz chita
Elsewhere.
ora v'gomer, a land of wheat and barley, etc. Ma lehalan, just as above, mi shiv as ha minim, it's talking about the 7 species. She nish tabcha vahen eretz Yisrael, by which the land of Israel is praised. Afkan, so here too, mi shevas
Shevach.
Eretz Yisrael, the praise of the land of Israel, shehein shiv'as haminim, that they are the 7 species.
which are the 7 species. So you only bring
Which
Bikurim, yeah. You only bring Bikurim from the seven species.
Zeis shemen.
Now Rashi, these words don't appear in the Parsha. It's interesting
Right.
why Rashi may have called them, but this is actually appears in the Parsha there in Parshas Akev, where it mentions the 7 species, and Rashi comments to say, I guess because the first 5 are pretty clear. So that's pretty clear what that is. Now Rashi just points out what is Zeis Shemen.
Olive oil.
And yeah, but see, Rashi's going to point to explain it. It means it's an oil olive, Zeis Shemen, an olive of oil.
Right.
And that's what Rashi explains. Zayis aguri. Okay, it's a particular kind of zayis which is aguri, right? It's called. That's the term. The term is called is an aguri olive. But why is it called that? Sheshmono, carry on.
Shamno agur bisocho, because its oil is collected inside it.
And it's
Agur
more than
means
collected.
collected.
It's sconced. Let me see how I translated it.
He quotes Barachos 39a.
Yeah, I'm not looking up. I'm looking up my translation. It's so good. It's held inside it. It means it's so full of oil.
Held. The footnote here says that it's
So called due to
separate
its
from the
abundance of
pulp,
oil. What, sorry?
so that it's extracted easily, like the juice of a grape.
Right. Because you just need to give a little press and out it comes.
Right.
Doesn't need
You don't have to squeeze it out of the pulp. It's like
right.
more of a liquid form.
Well,
Udavash,
it's
honey.
it's as if the oil is waiting to come out.
Right. Udavash and honey. Hu davash timarim. This is the honey of dates. Mereshis of the first.
Okay. Mereshis. Okay.
Adam.
Now Rashi is going to explain how was this done? How did one take the first fruits? How did one choose the first fruits?
Adam yored lesoch sadehu. A man goes down to his field. V'ro'eh ta'ena shebikra. And he sees
Right.
a fig
That
that
would go down to his
has
field.
begun to ripen. Korech.
So he sees a fig that has ripened. Okay. So what does he do? Korech aleo gemi lesimen. He ties around it a piece of reed as a simon. But he says,
Hooray, do vikorim. Behold, this is Bikurim.
Right. There's actually a Mishnah in Bikurim that they're saying.
That seems like a very labor-intensive process.
Yeah, I mean, it's
How many times does he have to do that?
if I call it a tedious process.
How many
You
times
have
do you have to do that?
actually
Just
has
once?
to go out in the field and check all the trees for the first ripening fruits.
How
When the
many?
first ripening fruits, then he's got to go around the trees and look for the first ripening fruit.
How many? How many?
I guess afterwards, then when it was fully ripened or whatever, then he would go ahead and pick it. He should then pick those particular fruits specially.
How many fruits does he have to pick?
I don't know. I don't know if there is any shear particularly.
And he has to put all 7 fruits in the basket?
No, yeah, the mice is only equipped each one separately. I mean, not every farmer grows 7 species.
Right.
One farmer would bring figs, the other one would bring grapes, the other one would bring pomegranates, the other one would bring olives, the other one would bring dates. Okay. Yeah. Okay, the Pasuk Gimel. Okay, Meir, let's read Pasuk Gimel.
Okay. Uvata el hakohen asher yihye bayamim hahem ve'amarta elav higadati hayom lahashem elokecha kivati el haaretz asher nishba Hashem lavotenu latet lanu.
It seems odd that he says your God.
Yes. The Mefarshim dwell on that. Where did I see that? Okay, there's some interesting Rashi's here, but anyway, we'll see. So he says, you shall come to the Kohen who will be there, who will be in those days. Okay, let's translate. The Meir.
Okay, so you come to the Kohen, who will be there in those days. Okay, and you'll say to him,
You shall say to him,
Ayom, I guess
Gadati
today.
Hayoim.
Oh, he got it. I tell today, or I told today actually.
I have told, or I have told today to Hashem your God.
Hashem
I declare in this sense, or I declare.
Okay, declare, okay.
Kivosi el haaretz.
That I come to the land.
That I have come to the land.
Come to the land, which let's see.
Hashem has promised.
Hashem promised
to our fathers to give to us.
Fathers to give to us.
You see, this whole idea is, and this Rashi is going to point out, the idea is to show our recognition and gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for having given us the land.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then we go to Rashi.
Yeah.
Okay. Asher Yihye Bayamim Haim, who will be in those days. Ein lecha ela kohen shebiyamecha Kamo shehu. Okay. So what? There is none to you have none, but the Kohen in your days, like who he
Moshehu, as he is.
as he is.
Okay? You can't compare, say,
They don't make the Kohanim like they used to.
right, exactly.
Okay.
Though, why should a person be so particular? I mean, we find this other concept of where the Torah mentions the one who is in your days. We had this at the beginning of Parsha Shoftim, where it says that if you have a court case and you bring it up to the Supreme Court in the Sanhedrin, Yerushalayim, it says, okay, had it. So that I can understand. Well, we're talking about a job.
Love you.
Somebody judging a case. So he's got to be he's got to be a competent judge. So you're going to say, well, I remember the tzaddikim and the Talmidei Chachamim from the previous door. They knew how to learn. They knew how to be able to judge. But these young guys of today, they don't know anything, right? They might be prompted, but here we're talking about just taking the bikurim, and the Kohen's going to eat it. So what's the big deal? Yeah.
Why does he have to be qualified to do that? That doesn't seem to
You don't
be
need a special qualification.
something that requires qualification.
Right. So I got a note. I'll read out my note over here. Ramban asks, why should one think the priest who is in your days does not qualify to receive bikurim? It is understandable that regarding judges, those of this generation might not be the same caliber of those of previous generations. But here, surely no great erudition is required to be able to receive bikurim. That's the Ramban's question. Divrei David Amalvim suggests that since the verse states, I have declared today to the eternal, your God, we may have thought that only a priest on a high spiritual level qualifies to be his representative and to be addressed in such a manner. So in other words, the point is that we're addressing the Kohen as being Hashem's representative. So in that respect, he's turning to the Kohen, and therefore, he might suggest, well, listen, I'd like to give it to a Kohen he's a worthy representative of Hashem, but not to somebody who's this younger generation who are not as pious as the previous generations. So the Pasuk says, no, you go to the Kohen who is in your days. He's the one who's qualified to accept the bikurim, even though in your eyes he may not be necessarily of the same caliber as of those of previous generations.
Okay. The one more, let's see. The next Rashi is Marta Elav. You'll say to him, She'eincha foy tova. It said,
Right. Just 1 second. You say to him that you're not ungrateful. Now, I was wondering if this.
What does the word kafui mean?
Kafui means like suppressing the goodness, means he's not willing to admit to the person to whom he should show gratitude. He's like holding back his expression of gratitude.
Ah.
Yeah, it's interesting why Rashi, where does Rashi see that? I mean, obviously, he's saying, right? Well, what's Rashi adding by this comment? So it's interesting. A person naturally has a nature not to want to be, how should I say, indebted to somebody else. Person likes to be independent, okay? And he doesn't want to show that he's indebted. So the point over here, especially to speak it out. So that's what when the Pasuk says, you've got to speak it out. Don't just bring it in the Purim, this is my show of gratitude. You've got to actually say, I'm indebted to you, Kosh Baruch Hu, for having brought me to the land and giving it to the Kohen as your representative. And to actually speak it out, that requires a person to, should we say, overcome his natural tendencies and to actually express his gratitude to Hashem. So that's why the Rashi is pointing out when it says, not just you should feel it, you should actually go ahead and say it. Speak it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay. And then it says, Higadati Hayom. I tell him today. Hana Chad B'Shana, once a year, below Shtei Pamim, not twice.
Yeah. Now it's also Rashi difficult to understand over here.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I've got actually a note here. The idea is Hayoim, right? This day, okay, only happens once a year. When we want to say a day has a speciality, okay? Something happens twice a year or more, then it's not such a unique day. Something which happens only annually, and the day it happens it's the day. Because generally we calculate days in a time frame of a year. So if something happens more than once a year, so the day when it happens is not the day. There are other days as well. So when it says over here, when a person says, I've declared today, Higati Hayoy, this day, I've declared this day, means this is the unique day of this year. And it's only going to happen once this year and not again. Okay?
Good. Yes.
Let's continue. Lou.
V'lakach hakohen hatene mi yadecha v'hi nicho lifnei mizbach Hashem Elokecha. And the Kohen will take the basket from your hand and lay it before the altar of Hashem, your God. So now it says your God, referring to the God of the farmer.
Well, yeah, we didn't answer that yet.
Right.
We had the question in the previous passage.
Right. Previous pasuk it said your God, meaning the God of the Kohen. Now it says your God, meaning the God of the farmer.
No, we're talking about still, we're addressing the farmer still. The Kohen shall take it from your hand, and he should place it before the altar of Hashem, your God.
Right, but in the previous it says, I declare
Oh,
today.
no, so right. So you're correct. Previous one was referring to the priest, to the Kohen.
Right.
Why does he say Hashem Elokecha? I did see it somewhere. Hold on a minute. Let me bring another Chumash. And I think we'll dwell on it 1 second. Who? Gideon Ba'erev, Misha Shema. Yeah, me? Yeah, Ba'erev. Which one ever has? Sorry about that. There's a question from Pasuk Gimel. Hashem Elokecha.
We have 2 minutes.
I don't see anything over here. No. Okay, I guess it'll be homework for tomorrow. I definitely saw one in the fashion speak about it. Yeah, I don't know. Don't have a real answer there. Okay. We start there. Did we do the Rashi?
We didn't do the Rashi yet.
No, yeah, let's do the Rashi. Just finish off.
Okay, v'lakach hakohen hatene miyadecha, and the Kohen shall take the basket from your hand, lehanif oso, to wave it, Kohen may niach yado, the Kohen places it in his hand, tachas yad habe'alim, underneath the hand of the owner, umenif, and waves. So he puts his hand underneath the hand of the owner, and I guess they wave it together.
Correct. We'll see, the Gemara actually there makes cheshbon how it means, because on the one hand he takes it, but it's still in the hands of the owner. So they hold it together. That's the Gemara understands. That means they hold it together. And even though waving over here, but we learn out to Gzera Shava, a comparison to other places where the Kohen and the owner hold the something together, and that includes waving. So too over here, when the Kohen takes the basket from your hand, and then you hold it together with the Kohen,